Million Dollar Picks week 13. I went back to the drawing board. I've been getting killed this year. There's a lot of reasons for it. Warren Sharp on my podcast on Tuesday pointed out this is not a year for parlays and teasers. Got it. Noted. About 12 weeks too late. I am down right now with a number that starts with a 4 and ends with $1 million. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because we're going to win most of this back this week. We're going big this week. That's how confident I am. I'm back. I'm Rocky doing pull-ups in the cabin in Russia. That's what you're looking at. I also was really sick this week and I'm on steroids now. And I feel like I have the strength of 10 men and I'm winning these bets. I'm just telling you. There's also a Holy Cross wrinkle coming. Stay tuned for that. First bet. It's part of my let's make the NFC South super weird plan. We need the Falcons to lose and we need New Orleans to beat Tampa. And then basically the NFC South goes into a washing machine and you should just pour some septic tank fluid in there. Septic tank water, septic tank mud. I don't know what it is, but pour it in there because that will be the worst division we've ever had. I love the Steelers. The Steelers treated me beautifully last week against Indianapolis on Monday night in real life. I think they're pretty frisky now. Everybody's back. TJ Watt's back. Fitzpatrick's back. Tomlin's like kind of incapable of not at least going 500. Rest of the way, they go at Atlanta, home Baltimore, at Carolina, Vegas, at Baltimore, Cleveland. Notice 2 Baltimore games there. They're kind of not out of the division. It's kitchen sink week for them every week from here on. Playing Atlanta. Pittsburgh's already played the toughest schedule in the league. Now it's about to get a lot easier. They got killed by Buffalo, got killed by Philly, got killed by Miami. That's fine. Last 3 weeks, beat New Orleans, almost beat Cincy, beat Indianapolis. They have the 8th rushing defense by DVOA right now, which is important because that's really all Atlanta can do is run the ball. Atlanta, 5 wins. Seattle, Cleveland, Carolina, Chicago, all kind of pulled out of their ass. San Francisco was their only impressive one. Mariota's only thrown 200 plus yards once since week 2. They have the worst passing defense in the league. And this is just, to me, a common sense thing. Pittsburgh's going one way. Atlanta's going the other way. NFC South, when you can bet against them, do it. I'm taking Pittsburgh minus 1.5 in Atlanta for $1 million. That's pick 1. Pick number 2 is another common sense thing. On paper, Washington at the Giants. Why is Washington favored? These teams are equal. Take the Giants. Lively home dog. All I do is I sit home and I watch football every week. Washington is better than the Giants. The Giants, whatever happened those first 6 weeks when they were duct taping weird shit together, that's done. It's a wrap. We're over. This is a different part of the Giants season now. Washington's won 6 out of 7. They lost to Minnesota by 3. They just beat an Atlanta team, which they got a little lucky, right? It was the last play of the game. Easily could have been a touchdown. Maybe they lose, but they beat an Atlanta team that's built pretty similar to the Giants. They're not a high-scoring team either. Washington's only scored 30 points once. They needed one of those end-of-the-game lateral stupid plays where you get the touchdown and then everybody goes nuts because it ruined their fantasy or their gambling or their tease or whatever. That was how they passed 30 points in the Philly game. I don't think this will be a high-scoring game, and I think Washington is going to win. And one of the reasons I think they're going to win is because I don't think this is the same Giants team anymore. Barkley, 26 carries, 61 yards the last 2 weeks. Ever since like his arm got pulled out of his body and they kind of rammed it back in, doesn't seem like he's been the same guy. And I think the league has figured out the Giants. I don't think they're a 7-4 team. I think they're a very well-coached team. I think they were smoking mirrors it and snuck, but now we're in December. You can't do that anymore. Washington's better. Chase Young's back. They're not going to be able to run the ball in Washington. The only thing I worry about, I'm going to mention this, we could have the Heineke game where he just sucks, where they blitz him and he makes some mistakes. They fall behind. He has 5 picks, whatever. I'm acknowledging that. I'm not that afraid of it. We're going to take the Washington money line and parlay it with the Washington under 52.5. And we're going to put $1 million on it. That's our second game. Third game, the Titans, which we discussed in detail with Ben Solak. They lose to Cincy last week. No shame in that. I think Cincy might end up being one of the best teams in the league by the end of this Sunday. We'll get to them in a second. They had the first in the league rushing defense in DVOA since week 3. Philly's 10-1. Just came off one of those games where they looked so awesome on Sunday night. Everybody went nuts. We all had the jerk circle. Oh my God, Philly. 400 yards. Nobody's done that since 1948. They're feeling great about themselves. Tennessee's not feeling great. Tennessee's 7-4. They have 2 games with Jacksonville left in the division. They're going to take this game seriously. They know they match up well with Philly. They got A.J. Brown on the other side. They know he's going to be trying to have the revenge game. And I think they hang around. I think this line's too high. I think this line should be Titans getting 3. They're getting 4.5. Thought about putting them in underdog parlay. Talked about that with Schrager. I think we're better off grabbing the 4.5 because I feel like we're getting a 1.5 free. You might get the cheap touchdown late. And I think this is going to be a really, really good test for Philly. It's going to be a good game. I think it's close. We're betting $1 million on the Titans plus 4.5. That is bet number 3. I have a conditional bet. Haven't done this before, probably because I'm stupid. But we do these picks on Thursday. Things change. I want to bet the Raiders plus 1 right now against the Chargers. But I don't know if Mike Williams is playing. I think Jacobs is going to play. And Jacobs was awesome last week, and it seems like he's going to play. I don't want to bet the Raiders if Mike Williams ends up playing because I think he changes the Chargers, especially in the red zone. Chargers last 5 weeks, they're 2-3. They beat Atlanta and Arizona by 4 points total. They're 6-5 for the year. They got Miami next week. They got Tennessee the week after. This could be a little stretch here where the Chargers go sideways. So it makes me think Mike Williams will try to play. And if he tries to play, I want to stay away from this. I don't mind Vegas, though. Vegas, 4-4 last 8 weeks. They're actually ranked slightly higher at DVOA than the Chargers, but it seems like they at least have their mojo back for like team that hangs around and then pulls some weird play out of their ass near the end of the fourth quarter. OT. So $1 million on the Raiders plus 1. Only if Mike Williams does not play. If Mike Williams plays, scrap, cancel, rip up the ticket. We're not playing it. But if Mike Williams does not play, we're playing it. I have a tease for $500,000 featuring the Cincinnati Bengals plus 2.5 at home against Kansas City. We're going to raise that up to plus 8.5 because I think that's going to be a close game that Cincinnati can possibly win. I think Cincinnati's a really good team. Everybody's back except for their starting corner. They can stop the run. They know how to play this Chiefs team. They have a great defensive coordinator, which we covered with Ben Solak. And their offense has a little bit of the look back. Like Mixon goes out, P. Ryan comes in, he's fine. Actually better than I think people thought. Chase is coming back now. Great, but their receivers were good without Chase, and now you're adding Chase to that. Little Burrow Mahomes thing here. Biggest home game in Cincinnati regular season recent history. I think they at least hang around. And we have another bet where we're going to take them to actually win. We're going to tease them up to plus 8.5. And we're going to college for the other half of that tease. That's right. Let me see. My school, the College of the Holy Cross, got a first round bye in their NCAA playoffs. And they're hosting UNH in a game that I should be going to, but for a variety of reasons I could not, including the fact that I've had the Ebola virus for 5 weeks. Now I'm on steroids and I'm not going to get in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Holy Cross favored by minus 7.5 against UNH in Worcester. And they're going to come through and they're going to win. And then they're going to play South Dakota State next week on the road. I have so much faith in Holy Cross. I am so grateful and happy that Holy Cross football is good again, that we're throwing them into $1 million picks. And you know what? I'll give money to the school this year too. I was so mad. I didn't give money for years because I was so mad that they destroyed our football and basketball programs. But now they seem like they care again. They have a good athletic director. They have a great football coach. I'm back in. We're putting them in the $1 million picks. Holy Cross down to minus 1.5. We're putting $500,000 on that. Holy Cross to minus 1.5. Cincinnati up to plus 8.5. And then 2 small ones. Remember I mentioned the Bengals? There's a scenario where Casey wins the first half and the Bengals win the game. That is plus 800 on FanDuel. And as we talked about, the Bengals are so good at adjusting at halftime. I just have to put $50K on that. Just a little taster, just to wet my beak. Last but not least, Underdog Parlay, which we've hit 6 this year in 12 weeks. Not bad. We're 6, 19 losses, but if you do the math, we're actually winning on Underdog Parlays. I wish I had made more of them. We do the Saints. Back to our NFC South is getting weird. They're 3.5-point underdogs against Tampa. We're doing the money line on that, and we're doing the money line on the Jets, who are playing in Minnesota. I'm all in on this Mike White thing, just because he's not Zach Wilson. That's really the only reason. I think they could potentially beat Minnesota. Great front four. Minnesota, a little smoke and mirrors-y. Even in DVOA, the Minnesota's 22nd at DVOA. The Jets are 9th. I think the Jets are good. I'm just that's my opinion. I think they can go and win. They're plus 132. Throw that with the Saints and the Bucks game. That gets us to plus 512, and we're gonna have to put $100K on that. I think the Saints. I don't think the Bucks are good. I was so unimpressed with them last week as they stole money from me in real life when I had them against the Browns. So we're gonna put $100K Saints Jets parlay plus 512. There was one other bet I really liked. It involved the Browns, who were playing the Texans, and I decided not to do it. I'm sitting out Browns bets. I don't mean to get all moral, but it's just how I feel this week. I didn't want their stink in my $1 million picks, if you get my drift. So the Browns are out. I'm not doing them, even though I think they're going to beat the Texans. Everybody else is in. We're bringing the Pleasant Son of Holy Cross into this. Holy Cross, Saturday, ESPN Plus. I think it's at 12 o'clock ET in round 2. And this is the first undefeated football team we've had since I was in college, when I was the sports columnist, sports editor, and the play-by-play guy for our team. Go Holy Cross. I'm really proud of you guys. And hopefully you bring some joy and some luck and some happiness and some dollar signs to $1 million picks. Until next week.